Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of The Grandstand here on the Ohio Patriot Education Network YouTube channel. I'm, as always, your host, AR the Ohio Patriot. And for today's episode, we're going to talk about, amongst other things, why Jamaal Bowman needs tossed out of office immediately at this point. He's throwing the fuck out of Congress right now, honestly, and needs to be the first sitting congressman, tossed out under automatic disqualifications in the 20th Amendment to the Constitution. So, yeah, that'll be the main story we talk about for the day, which we're going to show a video of exactly why. And it's his bitch up and bitching and moaning with Tom Massey today, where he wanted to sit there and act like he's a fucking 20-plus year school teacher and isn't everything wrong with this country right now, dude, of him being in the education system and him indoctrinating these kids for 20 fucking years. So we also going to talk about the shit going on, most recently and the most recent updates and stuff like that, with what's going on in Nashville there. Obviously, you've had since then a whole quote unquote trans day of vengeance being supposedly happening this weekend is what it is. I think it's at SCOTUS or near SCOTUS in Washington, D.C., which is funny to me because it's like, okay, they're talking about showing up armed to this event in Washington, D.C., yet from my understanding with D.C. laws, you cannot open carry at all there. And if you do, it's a federal felony because you're in city limits of the U.S. Capitol, what it is. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if these fuckers show up armed or not, or they show up at all to that, for that matter, or if it's something that they just do at a bunch of state capitals around the United States or whatever the case be, where you actually can be armed and stuff like that. So I don't know. I'm gonna give a heads up to everybody though, dude. If you live in a major city, don't be in it this weekend. Honestly, if you're not some left wing nut and shit like that, and you can be out of the city and stuff like that, like leave the city, go on a fucking like 12-hour or 24-hour little mini vacation or something like that's what it is, dude. Just, pack up the car fucking Friday night, Saturday morning, get the hell out of there is what it is, dude. And yeah, don't go back until like at least Sunday or Monday then, because there is no reason to be in the cities right now, dude. I feel like, honestly, with the way things are going currently, and I'm gonna be dead honest about this, dude, I honestly seriously thought we had at least a year or damn near it before actual civil war kicked off. I think we're in the beginnings of a civil war right now in this country. I believe that truthfully at this point, that we are now officially in the very early stages of the Second American Civil War in this nation. And I believe 100% that this Nashville attack was the first step of that, honestly. Or maybe not the first step, but like the very early stages of it is what it is. Because I think there was stuff leading up to that is what it is. Like, how you would look back in history books and stuff like that, you see like the prelude to a prelude to a prelude kind of thing is what it is. I feel like, honestly, we're seeing about the last 3 years or so, give or take, is the build up to this whole situation. Like when you look back in history books, 30, 40 years from now in the 1950s, in the 2050s or 2060s, these kids now are going to be looking at stuff from the 2020s. It'll be, everything with the riots of 2020. It'll be the COVID lockdowns. It'll be, the whole 2 weeks to slow the spread that led into, 2.5 years of lockdowns pretty much here and there, depending on what state you were living in and stuff like that. What kind of governor you had, depending on political party, if it was Democrat or Republican. And yeah, it's going to be a shit show is what it is. And I feel like we're definitely in a situation right now where things are going to get bad. Things are going to get bad, and they're going to get worse and worse. And it tells me these things when I look at things that have come out more recently. Like you have specifically two different articles. We got one from the Gateway Pundit here, and then we got one from the Daily Mail. So you got this first one from the Gateway Pundit, which is, and by the way, this whole Trans Day of Vengeance thing that's supposed to be happening on Saturday, Twitter, Elon Musk specifically, has been, knocking people for it and censoring people for it is what it is, even though they're bringing awareness to it, including Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene is what it is, which is fucked up, dude. But yeah, you got this one here. It said, revealed, group behind Trans Day of Vengeance raised money for firearms training. Vile trans activists pose with massive firearms threatening Christians ahead of rally at U.S. Supreme Court. And apparently this fucker in the Lee t-shirt is an ex-military person who is now an Antifa member. Because that's the other article we're going to talk about right now, which is... up here real quick, which is this one right here. Did I grab the wrong one? Yeah, this one right here. Revealed gun-toting transgender woman who has become the face of the Day of Vengeance organized by trans activists after Nashville massacre is former soldier who's also an Antifa member. And this is exactly what I've called for several times now, dude. This is why we need to declare Antifa a terrorist organization in the entire United States of America. And if they're not going to do it that way, then it needs to be individual states. It needs to be the Ohio General Assembly getting off its fucking ass right now and declaring these fuckers a terrorist organization, dude. Legitimately. And I mean that immediately. It needs to be right now, today, Thursday, them putting immediate legislation through and ramming it through all the way to DeWine's desk and him signing into law immediately is what it is, dude. Because it's fucking bullshit. It is absolute fucking bullshit to have these fucking people who are going to commit terrorist atrocities, potentially, walking around armed. And when they're specifically talking about going out there and doing crimes and stuff like that, dude, how the fuck are you still out of prison right now? Dude, 3.5 years ago, 42 months ago, I was federally swatted for less than what these fuckers are doing now. I had 2 FBI just knocking on my fucking door, knocking on my fucking windows, giving me shit for an hour of my life of if versus I so that they could try to bust me on something. And then telling me as they were leaving, we wasted 6 days on this. They spent 6 days illegally spying on me. And yet you have these fucking cunts on the left who are doing way worse than what I have ever done, dude. Saying way worse things than what I ever said. And nothing's happening to them. Why is that? Because the FBI is a bunch of fucking cunts who are totally fucking weaponized against the right and the center of this country, and they are 100% on the fucking leftist side at this point, dude. That is exactly why we're seeing what we're seeing right now. Because they refuse to do their fucking job. They refuse to do their job and arrest these actual fucking terrorists in this country that fall under Antifa and BLM monikers. And every other leftist fucking trope at that point, dude. Whatever the hell they want to call themselves at that point. This shit should be shut the fuck down immediately, dude. It's not that hard, man. Hell, even the person that did Nashville, their fucking parents supposedly came out now and said that they thought they sold the guns because they were under a doctor's care. That alone should have made them a prohibited person at that point. That alone should have made them not be able to get firearms ever in this country, dude. And then you got fucking fucknuts like Maj Turi, who's a dipshit and a fucking black supremacist piece of crap too, by the way. And I've heard a lot of people in the 2A community call that motherfucker out behind closed doors, by the way. They know what's up with that guy, dude. That guy is a fucking scumbag. He wants to sit there and act like he's all fucking hot shit and like teach people how to fucking do firearms training and stuff like that. No, he's sitting there teaching a bunch of people in the fucking hood how to be better shots and how to kill each other better, dude. That's what he's fucking doing. Legitimately. And he's on Twitter. He's been on Twitter all day in the last couple days, actually, after this whole thing, being like, oh, I see a bunch of people on the right trying to deny gun rights to transgender people and stuff like that. No. What you're seeing, asshole, is you're seeing people calling out people that should be on a prohibited persons list that should never been able to have firearms in the first place, so they didn't kill a bunch of fucking innocent kids, you douchebag. Yeah, that's right, Maj, you fucking cunt. I'm calling your bitch ass out, dude. And that's the thing I can't fucking stand about people like that, dude. Is I don't care if it's Maj Turi or if it's somebody else on the fuck, like, because Maj always calls himself a fucking libertarian, which is a bunch of bullshit entirely, dude. The guy's Democrat light. Legitimately. Sorry, my internet's dipping out a little bit. Anyway, as I was saying, whether it be your Abram Kindies or whether it be, Tariq Nasheeds or fucking Sean Kings or anybody like that's what it is, dude. They're all a bunch of race hustlers. You know, Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, they're like oldest version of those fucking people is what it is, dude. Because they always make it about race. Every single time. It can't never be enough. It can never be about anything else at that point. It always has to be racial with these fucking people, dude. It's like the same exact thing here in Ohio. You had this piece of shit Herschel Craig, who's a Democrat, who's trying to do with her death penalty right now, and wants to play the fucking race card for it being a bunch of black dudes on death row in our state right now. And it's like, why is that, buddy? Maybe because they kill other black people in various major cities across the state in the past 20 years. Or if they didn't kill black people, they killed innocent white kids. There was one dude who's been on the fucking death row since the year I was born. I was born January 85. This fucker's been on death row since September of 85 after he killed a kid. And 30-something years later, still has not been fucking executed. Like, why is he still alive at this point? Why are we letting people spend decades on fucking death rows when it can be proven that they're fucking guilty as shit? They should be in the fucking ground already, legitimately. They should have been executed at that point already. Lethal injection, firing squad, I don't give a fuck what it is. They should already be out of this earth for the crimes they've committed, dude. So, anyway. Just fucking disgusting is what it is, dude. But, yeah, going back, and we're going to go ahead and read, before we get to the Bowman story, we're going to read the two articles here for the various things there about the people getting armed, and then that person that's supposed to be Antifa there. So you got the first one there from Gateway Pundit, which was Group behind Trans Day of Vengeance raised money for firearms training. Vile trans activists pose with massive firearms threatening Christians ahead of rally at U.S. Supreme Court. Says, as Jim Holt reported, the Trans Day of Vengeance rallies will take place this weekend at the U.S. Supreme Court, despite the shooting Monday at a Christian school in Nashville by a transgender terrorist who murdered 3 adults and 3 children, aged 9. Said, now we learn that the Virginia chapter of the Trans Radical Activist Network, or TRAN, has organized, the organization organizing the rally raised money to train trans activists, aka trans terrorists is what it really means. So they held a dance party fundraiser in Richmond for self-defense training on March 7th before the school shooting happened. And there's a thing for their dance party there. Says recent images also have emerged showing radical trans activists posing with massive firearms like ARs and stuff like that, and issuing threats against peaceful Christians. In one photo, a trans activist poses with what the left calls an assault rifle and threatens to kill Christians. Or sorry, Christ cucks is what they called Christian people, because they're a piece of shit is what it is, dude. This dude's just a pussy is what it is, dude. That's all they are. Little pansy ass bitch. Got your little poverty pony for about $500 there, and they got a fucking, looks like a Glock with a extended mag on it. So here's another one. Trans activist declares Audrey Hale, the shooter, a martyr, and also threatens faithful Christians. I'm not going to read what they said actually on that one, because fuck them. They don't deserve the credit for that one. Said it's almost like they are preparing for war. Do not count on the corrupt FBI investigating these disturbing individuals, however. They only target conservative protesters and religious Christians. Exactly, dude. And I can tell you that from both ways right now. As somebody who is a right-wing person, they targeted me because of what I said, dude. It was a literal fucking thought crime over Andrew Yang is what got me federally swatted. And yet these fuckers are doing and saying way worse shit than what I ever did. And they're not getting fucking FBI knocks on their door, doors kicked in at 3 a.m., whatever it is, dude. It doesn't matter, honestly. Anyway, continues on. Says, Daily Mail reported, despite rising political tensions across the country, which saw the press secretary of Arizona, fake governor, Katie Hobbs, post a tweet about shooting transphobes, the TRAN network is pushing forward with their protests in D.C. The Virginia chapter of the group held a, quote, dance party fundraiser in Richmond benefiting firearms / self-defense training for trans Virginians on March 7th before the mass shooting occurred. Said, But one activist appears to have taken the movement to the next level, posting a picture of a heavily armed person with a rifle and threatening to kill Christcucks. As Twitter removed thousands of posts with flyers for the event, says Twitter has been removing the posts that could be deemed threatening or involved guns associated with the Trans Day of Vengeance hashtag. It is unclear exactly how many others posing with firearms, as they have since been deleted. Said 2 other trans activists have since posted footage and photos of themselves with rifles, which appear to be the direct response to the Nashville shooting. One says that she will use the weapon for protection against transphobes who target them. Yeah, right, except they're going to be the ones shooting first. Says activists are being encouraged to bring a buddy and wear a mask. So they can't be identified, by the way, because we're fucking Antifa is what it is. That's the whole point, dude. It's like bring a buddy and wear a black mask so you're unidentifiable with the rest of the fucking Antifa black bloc pieces of shit. Armed terrorists in this country. This has been outside Supreme Court on April 1st and is billed as avenging a, quote, trans genocide. Jesus fucking Christ, these fucking people, dude. And this is why I've said for a while now, and this is why I said in the title of this video, actually, shit like that is exactly why the fucking mainstream media that is giving these fuckers not only a platform to spew their fucking hate, but also the fact that they're sitting there and actively basically condoning it, where you had people on MSNBC, CNN, etc. this past couple days basically giving the attaboy to the motherfucker who did that shit in Nashville. It's like, why the fuck does the mainstream media still have freedom of the press at this point, dude, when they're not media at all? They're not media. They're not journalists. They are 100% propagandists. They are 100% leftist activists. They don't know what fucking journalism would look like if it walked up and dick slapped them across the face, dude. Seriously. What I'm doing right now, what I'm reading right now, this is actual journalism. I do more journalism on this channel than these fuckers in the mainstream media have done in the last 20 years, dude. Because they always put their own bullshit opinions pieces on it, dude, is what it is. I shoot it straight, man. I tell it like it is. I'll read the stuff. Maybe I'll get my own opinion on it. Who the fuck knows? But that's the point, though, is I am doing more journalism than these fuckers ever did in the mainstream media, dude. Anyway. Continuing on with the other article here, which was this fucking loser. It says, gun-toting transgender woman who has become the face of the Day of Vengeance organized by trans activists after Nashville Massacres, former soldier who's also an Antifa member. It says Kayla Donker, who has become one of the most recognizable faces of the militant transgender activists, is now believed to be a former soldier shortly after the Nashville shooting, which was carried out by another motherfucker. Said Dunker posted a TikTok of themselves loading a rifle. Said Dunker's video comes as trans activists are preparing together on April 1st for the Day of Vengeance planned before the shooting, but continuing regardless of that whole thing. Says militant transgender activists who has quickly become one of the most high-profile faces of the radical movement is a former soldier and Antifa member. It has now been claimed. Said Kayla, who has run YouTube site, who runs a YouTube channel with videos dedicated to explaining Marxism and guns, posted a video of himself is what it really is, with a AR after the Nashville shooting. Nashville attacker described police as transgender and online appeared to reference themselves as something else. So although authorities still reference them as a female because that's what they were, it said here, that piece of shit murdered 3 9-year-old children and 3 staff members, which was obviously the school dean, the janitor guy who tried to stop them unarmed and failed because they were unarmed, and another teacher who's a substitute that day. So while vast majority condemn the attack, fringe groups, fringe my ass. This is the fucking Democrat arm of the left, dude, at this point. This person right here is the fucking Democrat terrorist wing of the Democrat Party, dude. 100%. They are not fringe groups, dude. They are fucking given free range and they multiple platforms to sit there and do their fucking terrorism, dude. It's exactly why all these cocksuckers were fucking bail funded by Kamala Harris after 2020, dude. When you have a bitch who literally bail funded these people after they committed riots and murders during 2020, during the summer of rage, over that fucking idiot George Floyd. This is why this country is so fucked right now, dude, because these fuckers are let out, dude. And then you have shithead DAs like Mike Schmidt in Portland, or you have shithead DAs across this fucking country is what it is, dude. That are all Soros-paid douchebags who give these little fuckers a slap on the wrist, if anything at all for that matter, and let them right back on the streets, dude. And then you wonder why 3 years later almost, why we're heading towards a civil war in this country, if not in an active one currently, is what it is, dude. It's because of shit like that right there. Because you have these fucking pieces of these actual fucking terrorists by definition, domestic terrorists by definition, dude, going out there and committing these atrocities and threatening innocent people over some fucked up shit. Because you have the fucking media telling them, oh, these trans affirming bills that are stopping small children from having their fucking lives ruined and being sterilized for life are somehow going to kill you now. It's fucking ridiculous, dude. It's absolute bullshit. And it's another fucking reason why the pieces of shit at ABC, NBC, CBS, fucking Fox, etc. that promote this bullshit, why they need to be held fucking accountable for it, dude. Why they need to no longer have any freedom of the press ever again and be sued into the fucking ground right now. Because they are 100% responsible for every single one of these fucking massacres, dude. When they give these fucking assholes that do this shit 24/7 news coverage to commit another fucking atrocity after that by some other asshole, that's what the fucking problem is, dude. You look back in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, when you had serial killers running wild in this country, dude, and then you kept having copycat killers, there's a reason why the mainstream media at some point said, maybe we should stop reporting on this shit. Because they were the ones creating the copycats. Because they gave infamy to the first fucking cunt, and it allowed a second fucking cunt, and a third fucking cunt, and a fourth fucking cunt to come out there and commit copycat killings. It's exactly what we're seeing with all these massacres too, dude. It's why they're always in 3s or 4s or so now. Because it's like, oh shit, this happened in Nashville. Then a couple days later, oh my God, something else happened someplace else. Oh my God, something happened someplace else. A couple days after that, dude. You're creating insane people. You are taking people who, by all rights at this point, should be in a fucking nut house because they are completely psychotic and they should be in a rubber room somewhere. But because we got rid of state hospitals under that idiot fucking Reagan's administration, now you have these fucking nuts running the asylum and walking free to have voting rights, by the way, on top of all that, dude. To be able to vote even more extremist nut jobs into fucking office then. Like Bowman or AOC or fucking Omar or Tlaib or who the fuck it is at that point, dude. Doesn't matter, honestly. You know, insert Democrat there is what it is. Hell, go to state levels. Allison Russo, Casey Weinstein, the rest of these fucking douchebags. They're the ones voting these fucking clowns into office, dude. And then you have these same fucking assholes going out there and being like, and this is why we need to keep gun-free zones in schools, and this is why we do this, this is why we do that, and shit like that. It's fucking insane. Whereas we could easily have fixed this shit 6, 7 fucking years ago when Trump was still in office. The worst thing that Donald Trump ever did was not do forced institutionalization in this country, dude. Because had he instituted something where you fucking finally got these crazy leftist people the help that they needed, we would be 100% better off as a country right now, dude. We wouldn't be looking at potential World War III between Russia, Ukraine, and us. We sure as shit wouldn't be looking at a sick civil war right now in this country. We wouldn't be having fucking kids be murdered in class. You wouldn't be having all kinds of other crazy sick shit happening, dude. You wouldn't have to have fucking state houses across the country, you know, ban quote-unquote gender-affirming care, which is not that thing. What it is it's banning literal genital mutilation of children under the age of 18. It's banning forced sterilization of children under the age of 18. We wouldn't have to have that kind of stuff as legislation if we actually didn't have a bunch of fucking nut jobs out here, man. And that's the biggest problem right now. And then you look at other stuff, like what we saw in Kentucky here. And we're talk about this for a second, actually, here in a hot minute right now, as soon as I get my tabs figured out here. So you had this fucking little mini insurrection act happening today in the Kentucky State House. A group of insurrectionists occupied the Kentucky State Capitol today to protest kids not being able to get sex change surgeries anymore. And yeah, you look at these fucking people, dude. Every single one of these motherfuckers is Antifa, dude. Especially this bitch in the wheelchair right here. These are 100% every time. When you look back at Portland, dude, 5-10 years ago, 2018, 2014, 13, someplace in there. These are the motherfuckers. I used to talk about the Make America Safe Again series on this channel, dude, all the time. Hell, you had one a couple years ago there in Portland, and it was somebody else in a wheelchair, where you had some dude be like, back the fuck up, motherfucker. And they just kept wheeling forward at this dude. And were 100% aggressing on the guy. And finally, the guy started swinging a bat. And who was arrested in that situation? It wasn't the Antifa douchebags that were attacking this guy. It was the fucking guy that these piece of shit cops arrested, dude. Who was defending himself versus a bunch of leftist terrorists is what it was, dude. So, yeah, it's just fucking nuts, dude, is what it is. And then, like I said, going to what we saw with that ass clown Bowman. So you had, this is the shortest clip of all of them, actually. There's about 3 or 4 different clips. There was one that was like 2.5 minutes. I don't want to show that whole thing, but it does show a lot more. It's basically Bowman bitching and moaning about, like, I think what happened was you had a bunch of people in Congress today, or not today, but yesterday. So it would be Wednesday afternoon, morning, whatever it was there. You had them bring a bunch of kids from across their collective states is what it is, to show them the U.S. Capitol and stuff like that, and do like tours, essentially is what it was. And apparently during that time, you had Tom Massey giving a bunch of tours to a bunch of kids there is what it was, from his home state. And then you had Jamaal Bowman supposedly giving a bunch of kids tours from his state there in New York is what it is. And you had Massey, you know, doing his thing, whatever the case be. You have Bowman basically shouting him down and stuff like that, and like bitching and moaning about, like, this is why we need to deal with gun violence and crap like that is what it is, dude. And Massey's like, okay, then let's repeal Biden's gun-free zones is what it is. The stuff that Joe Biden and Dianne Feinstein, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, etc., back in 1990, enacted under George H.W. Bush, where you had every school in this country become a gun-free zone by default, where you had every higher level institution and college campuses and stuff like that all become gun-free zones by default. And you had mass shootings go up like fucking crazy after that. And this is about halfway through that, where you had this fucking nut Bowman freaking the fuck out on Tom Massey.
Have you ever worked in a school? Have you ever worked in a school? Have you ever worked in a school? It's a yes or no question. Have you ever worked?
So here's my problem with that one, right? So you have Bowman being a fucking nut, talking to Massey. Have you ever worked in a school? What the fuck does it matter, jackass? It doesn't matter, Bowman. What matters is protecting children, you fucking leftist cunt. And obviously you don't want to do that because you're a typical radical leftist terrorist, you piece of shit. And I'm not at least surprised when you hang out with people like Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib every fucking day of your life, you worthless prick. Of course you're going to be on the fucking terror watch list, or at least you should be anyway at this point. And mind you, up to this point, I believe it was before this part of this video, you had Bowman bitching and moaning about being a school teacher for 20 years, dude. You want to know why our public school systems are so fucked, dude? It's because Jamaal Bowman was a teacher / indoctrinator in them for 2 fucking decades, dude. That's why our schools are so fucked right now, dude. Because you got ass clowns like this doing fucking BLM flags and doing fucking trans pride flags and everything else like that in school systems now, in their classrooms and shit. And you wonder why these kids are so fucking fucked in the head, man. It's not that hard to figure out, man. It really isn't.
You will not answer my question. Don't stop and talk to me. Okay, I'll bring you down to that. All right, folks. Have you ever worked in the school? I've got a bill to repeal. I worked in the school.
Yeah, look at that. Just grabbing on Tom Massey.
I was a teacher. I was screaming before you came and interrupted me.
20 years.
I worked in the school for 20 years. I worked in the school 20 years. I was a teacher. I was a school counselor. I was a middle school principal. Have you ever worked in the
Okay. So he was a school teacher, a middle school counselor, and a school principal. And you wonder how these schools are so fucked. You're the counselor, bro? You're the one that they go to for fucking advice? Holy shit, man. And people wonder why I wanted 20th Amendment disqualification from office at this point, dude. And why Jamaal Bowman needs to be the first one on the fucking list, dude. For this shit right here. This motherfucker has no business being a sitting congressman ever again, dude. When you are actively going up and invading another congressman's personal fucking space and grabbing on them and touching on them, dude. Honestly, if Tom Massey had leveled that motherfucker with a knockout punch, he would have been 100% justified at that point, dude. You don't go up and grab on somebody, dude, and not expect them to fucking knock you one in the fucking teeth, buddy. Like, I am so sick and tired of Congress at this point, dude. I am so honestly, we don't need a federal government anymore, dude, at all. We really don't. It needs to be states' rights and a state government. And if nothing else, we just come together as a bunch of states and various state blocks and stuff like that, dude, and we make a better country at that point. As you know, 8, 10, 12 states coming together and making an interstate compact or something. And then we have that a couple other times doing other stuff, whatever the case be. Actually, here's a larger version from this Emily woman of the like 2.5 minute clip is almost what it is. So where Bowman's just freaking out like a little baby.
Children at all, cowards, pressure them, force them to respond to the question, what the hell won't you do anything to save America's children? And let them explain that all the way up until election day of 2024.
Yeah. Talking about Republicans not doing anything to save the kids, but yet your fucking bitch ass is still allowing gun-free zones to be in place, motherfucker. Fuck you. Fuck you, Bowman, you piece of shit. I swear to fucking the gaslighting by Democrats in this country, dude, is again exactly why we're in the beginnings potentially of a civil war right now in this country, dude. And exactly why it's going to get worse, and it's going to get worse. And hell, when you look back into history right now, what was it, about a year or so ago, when fucking then piece of shit Congressman Tim Ryan legitimately called for murdering MAGA people? And then you had a kid like a day or two later get fucking run over by some piece of shit in another state? Yeah. That dude, that fucking scumbag Tim Ryan should be in federal prison right now for that shit, dude. Because he himself, along with Maxine Waters, who has called for fucking violence against the right every fucking time she has a chance right now, since Trump's administration, since 2017, dude. A bunch of times. What was the first one? Go confront them at the gasoline station, all that bullshit like that, dude. And then it was after that one motherfucker there in Minnesota that got the cop woman that said taser, 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 and then shot him and shit like that. And then fucking crazy ass Waters is out there with her fucking freak ass mask is what it was, dude. Talking about like, oh, people need to go to the streets with this shit. That's what she said legitimately, dude. And yet, she is still a sitting congresswoman after that. Why the fuck are these people still sitting in office, dude? Seriously. Why are they not being brought up on high treason charges at this point, dude? Why are they not in a federal prison cell minimum for the rest of their damn lives, dude? And I say minimum because there's another charge for high treason. But anyway, the entire point and fact of the matter is these people have no business ever being in office ever again, dude. They have no business sitting in office. They should already be in prison for the many, many thousands of times they've been started trading in this country over the past 30-something years. And it's like, at what point do we say enough is enough, dude? Honestly. At what point do we just say, fuck you, government? We're doing our own thing now. We don't look at you as legitimate at all anymore. Because honestly, that's how the federal government should be looked at right now, dude. It's not legitimate. It hasn't been since at least 2020 election cycle is what it is, dude. Hell, you have multiple state governments right now, including Michigan, New York, Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada. I'm trying to think what else now. California is another one. Oregon's another one. Washington State's another one. Every single sitting governor in every single one of these states right now, dude, is illegitimate. Maine's governor is illegitimate right now. Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut. Fucking Chris Murphy and Richard Blumenthal being in the U.S. Senate from Connecticut is both, bullshit. If we actually did real audits in election cycles, you can see a massive fraud going on there as well. Not only that, but in all these other governors' races and stuff like that, dude. so forth and so on. So, yeah, it's fucking nuts, dude. But we are going to go ahead and show the rest of the psycho nut clip of Nutbar Bowman and why he should be removed from office immediately under 20th Amendment of the Constitution for disqualifications. So.
Let them explain it all the way up to election day on 2024. They're freaking cowards. They're gutless. We're not here. I'm talking about guns.
Okay. This is what's funny to me, right? He sits there and says they're freaking cowards. They're gutless. Yet his pussy bitch ass has armed security all over the fucking U.S. Capitol there. How about you come out of the fucking steps of Congress, bitch, and say that to some American's face and see what fucking happens, motherfucker. No armed security, no nothing, dude. It'll be like that one confrontation between Biden and the steelworker guy, dude, where that guy called him out to his fucking face at that point, dude. And then you'll see what really happens, dude, when you got nobody protecting your bitch ass is what it is, Bowman, you fucking pussy. You fucking cunt. Just to be clear, I'm not making threats. I'm not saying anything. I'm simply saying this guy's a fucking douchebag, a cunt, and a fucking coward himself is what it is, dude. And he's a pansy-ass little bitch that would never actually have a real throwdown with any American citizens, what it is, dude. Christ, dude.
Look at the data. You're not looking at any data. You're counting the more gun lobby. Look at the data. More guns and more deaths. States that have open carry laws have more deaths.
That is a fucking lie.
States that have open carry laws have more deaths.
That is an absolute fucking lie, Bowman, and you know it, and I know it, dude. Ohio, and what he's really talking about, by the way, is constitutional carry. And Ohio has had constitutional carry for almost a year now. We've had open carry, jackass, for over 20 years now, and there has never been more death in Ohio. Now, what you're actually talking about, you fucking cunt, is what you're talking about is the major cities in this country. And when you look at the actual statistics of every major city in this country, the top 10 for the most homicide rates in the past year or so, dude, those 10 cities, all run by Democrats, almost all of them in Democrat-run states, by the way, except for a couple that are in Texas, which still are Democrat-run cities because they're Democrat mayors, Democrat city councils, and stuff like that. Those 10 cities specifically make up 1/3 of all murders for that year, buddy. So you want to talk about the so-called gun violence epidemic, bitch Bowman? There's no gun violence epidemic, dude. What there is there's a bunch of motherfuckers who look like you, dude. A bunch of black gangbangers who are going out there and killing each other. And God forbid, they're shooting a fucking house up in some neighborhood and a stray bullet hits and kills some little girl or some little boy that's just fucking sleeping in their home. Which has happened many times now, by the way. You have an innocent, young black child, usually under the age of 10, by the way, that catches a stray bullet and gets killed by these pieces of shit, dude. It happened in the fucking Baz, that fucking Atlanta-based version of the Chaz, where they killed Sonoria Turner. Or no, not Sonoria. Secoria Turner. It happened with, this was not a drive-by, but it happened here in Canton, Ohio, actually, where you had Ace Lucas, an 18-month-old black child. 3 pieces of shit walked up to his father's back door and started opening fire on the fucking house, dude. 1 of them has been caught. 2 of them are still on the loose to this day. Since then, Ace's father, Aaron, has also been murdered because he was about to testify in Ace's trial and they killed him that day. Should I go on? Should I talk about Nilo Lattimore and the fucking piece of shit black guy who was dating his mother and tossed his fucking still living body off a fucking bridge in Columbus? Should I talk about that, Bowman? You want to talk about murder rates, dude? Yet you never talk about how most of them come from people who look like you, buddy. It doesn't take a gun to kill someone. Nilo, an innocent black child, thrown off a fucking bridge by some piece of shit black gangbanger who was fucking his mom. His dad rightfully got one back for him, dude. because he beat the fuck out of that guy in the courtroom, and the cops should have let it happen. They stopped it from happening. After about 4 or 5 punches, they should have just let him fucking have at it, dude. Ronan Sweeney, the only white kid in the mix, literally in his mother's arms, had a gun put to his head by a black criminal and had his brains blown out in Springfield, Ohio. There's a fucking pattern, and that's what it is, dude. And I'm sick and fucking tired of people not talking about it. It fucking pisses me off. And it should piss everybody off too, man. That's what the fucking problem with this country is, dude. And why did they kill Ronan? Why were those guys at the house to begin with? Why were those criminals at the house to begin with? Because they were trying to steal stimulus checks from Ronan's mother and her black boyfriend. Ronan's father is now a fucking childless parent, dude. Because they stole his son's life. The worst part about the whole thing is, after the fact, you had Ronan's mom and the same black boyfriend guy, who apparently was a good dude, I guess, you know, with the exception of these fucking scumbags knowing what the hell was going on at the house there and trying to steal the stimulus checks and kill people in the house is what it was, dude. Because they shot them too, by the way. At least one or two of the other adults is what it was. I don't believe it was the boyfriend. I think it was his buddy and then some other chick, and then they killed Ronan as well, is what it was. But the entire point was, you had the boyfriend and the mother driving down the street. One of his cousins had given him a gun. I think it was a Taurus or some kind, like a PT-111 or something like that. He shuffled the gun under the seat of the car when he was being stopped at because he ran like a red light turn or something like that's what it was here. Or not ran, he like did like a right turn on the red or whatever it was there. And the cop was behind him and like, you know, flipped on the lights and shit is what it was. They caught him with the gun. They gave both of them gun charges because at that time we didn't have constitutional carry in the state. We still had to have the thing where you had to have either, you know, a permit or you had to have something like that or whatever it was. Otherwise, you got a mishandling a firearms or motor vehicle charge, which is like a 4th or 5th degree felony in the state of Ohio, or at least it was anyway. And then technically it still is for anybody who's 21. If you're carrying constitutionally, you have to be 21 and over in the state right now. So the whole point entirely is, though, you had them both catch that bullshit charge after the fact, and you had the boyfriend step up and he's like, no, bro, this is all me. This is all me. She had nothing to do with this. This was my gun. You know, we just had her son was just murdered a couple months ago. My cousin gave me this gun to protect us, is what it was. I'm just trying to protect my girl here, is what it is. And that's exactly what it was, dude. And I think he ended up catching most of the charges for it. I think they gave her something, and then they eventually like knocked it down to like a little bit is what it was. So it was, instead of being like a felony, it was like a low level misdemeanor or something for just like being accessory after the fact or some shit like that. And the entire point is, though, you have people who are trying to protect themselves from the criminal element being double victimized by a bunch of shithead anti-gun laws is what it is, dude. And that's exactly why I can't fucking stand some of the shit that they're passing in the state and the crap they're pushing into it, dude. You could easily pass great constitutional bills right now. And what do they do instead? They put some bullshit like a Terry stop in there. They put some bullshit like fucking, oh, you can still be civilly lawsuited even though you have stand your ground laws. It's not stand your ground, dude. It's expand the castle doctrine. True stand your ground does not allow for civil lawsuits of fucking criminals or of parents / siblings of dead criminals is what it is, dude. And it's as simple as that, really. But anyway, continuing on back with the rest of the why Bowman should be tossed to the office right now. So he was bitching about Massey and the gun stuff here. Yeah, tell Massey, calm down, bro. You don't give a shit about those kids, Bowman. Go fuck yourself.
Have you ever worked in a school? Have you ever worked in a school? Have you ever worked in a school? It's a yes or no question. Have you ever worked in a school? You will not answer my question. Don't stop and talk to me. Okay, I'll bring you down.
Jamaal Bowman is an NPC, by the way. This 100% proves that to me. When you ask the same question 10 fucking times, dude, because you're so fucking retarded, no, you're 100% a non-playable character at that point.
All right, folks. Have you ever worked in the school? I've got a bill to repeal. I worked in the school for 20 years. I was a genius.
Dumbass, you're just screaming.
I worked in the school for 20 years. I worked in the school 20 years. I was a teacher. I was a school counselor. I was a middle school principal. I was in cafeterias protecting kids every day of my career. Clown.
It's time. We've got guns here to protect us. We should have somebody to protect them. Every school that's allowed it has never had a shooting, not even an accidental
Exactly.
discharge in any of the schools. So. Yeah, absolutely. Next week, I will reintroduce.
Okay, so apparently what Massey was saying was he's reintroducing legislation here in the next 7 days to repeal the gun-free zone shit of 1990. Thank God for that, dude. I hope it goes through. Honestly, that this is what it's saying right now, dude. If the Democrats kill that bill, I can tell you right now, or even if rhinos do it too, for that matter, dude, they should be removed from office right now. Removed from office based on the fact that they are 100% committing crimes against humanity at this point in this country's history. Because if you're against repealing gun-free zone bills, dude, gun-free zone laws that have been on the books for 33 years now, and have done nothing but create massacre after massacre, you are part of the fucking problem. You should no longer be holding office at that point, dude. End of story. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens, though, with everything going on currently, and especially with the shit with the trans stuff here, dude. And let's not get it twisted, dude. Like, I want to be very clear about things right now at the end of this episode. I have no problem with someone having firearms rights in this country as long as they're legally able to have them, is what it is, dude. Like, again, I agree with NEA a lot of the times when it comes to, if you're going to be doing your time in prison and getting out of prison, you should have your rights restored all the way, is what it is, dude. You should be able to carry a firearm again. You should be able to go buy a firearm again and stuff like that. The problem I have is when we are letting violent criminals back out of prison because of a fucking broken ass system, and these people should never be allowed out of prison ever again, dude, because they are super violent. They are career criminals and stuff like that. They're going to continue to commit violence and stuff like that. You're letting them back out of prison, and they're going to go commit more atrocities. You look at the motherfucker the other day, dude. You had Rand Paul, his staffer in Washington, D.C. this week. I think it was either the same day. I think it was either Monday or it was Sunday afternoon or something like that. I think it was Monday morning, actually, is what it was, right around the time this whole thing was going on in Nashville. Staffer just walking down the street, broad daylight. A dude, I'm pretty sure it was a black dude, by the way, out of prison less than 24 fucking hours, dude, walks up to Rand Paul's staffer and starts stabbing his ass. And it's like, what the fuck, man? And mind you, where did this happen at? Washington, D.C., that has the strictest gun rights in the entire nation, dude. Where you cannot have a gun unless you have a concealed carry permit. And even then, you have to go through so many fucking hoops to get a concealed carry permit and basically pretty much live within D.C. limits somehow to even qualify. And it takes like several years for it to actually go through as a process and shit. And it's like, bro, you are stopping people from being able to defend themselves versus violent repeat offenders. I've heard a lot of people, honestly, and what's interesting is it seems like it's a lot of black people, actually, that have said it. Just everyday black Americans is what it is there, who have straight up said, we should bring back the 94 crime bill. And I don't know if I agree with that, because obviously when you look at that whole bill is what it was, dude, because it was a lot of it was architected by racist ass Biden and stuff like that, dude. And it specifically targeted minorities and stuff like that is what it was. What we need more, actually, is we just need to enforce actual laws in the books already, is what it is, dude. Like, you might not need like an actual crime bill again. What you need is like an actual fucking, like, hey, here's, 20,000 fucking laws on the books, enforce them. And if you as a DA or you as a prosecutor, whatever it is, are not going to enforce them, and guess what? You're out of fucking office. You may also catch charges on your own for not enforcing the fucking law. And we're going to replace your ass with somebody who is going to enforce the fucking laws, what it is, dude. Because that's what we need right now. We need law and order in this country again, dude. We need to stop having violent fucking criminals be able to get slaps on the wrist and walk out of prison again, to then go on and repeat crime is what it is, dude. To then go on and do even more violent crime. Or those dumbass fucking bail reform laws in New York and stuff like that, where you can basically have people pretty much commit like armed robbery, get let right back out because of not being having to pay cash bail and stuff like that, and then turn around, go to another bodega, and fucking kill the clerk, and then catch a murder charge. And it's like, bro, you wonder what leads to escalations of violence. It's because you're not stopping the shit while you fucking could. Because you're not charging these people with slightly lesser crimes that are also like aggravated assault and shit like that. And instead you're letting them go even further and commit actual homicides. And it's like, Jesus Christ. It's like everybody's taking fucking crazy pills. You know? It's like, damn, dude. You wonder why people are so fucked up anymore. Look at the water supplies in the major cities, dude. Look at how many fucking drugs are in them. Whether it be big pharmaceuticals, whether it be fucking estrogen, testosterone, etc., whether it be actual fucking street drugs, heroin, fentanyl, carfentanil, you know, PCP, crack, everything in between, honestly. And you look at the big pharmaceutical drugs, and it's just like Xanax, Zoloft, Adderall, etc., dude. And it's like, yeah, you wonder why these people are so fucking deranged, dude, live in these cities and shit like that. And it's like, that's why. Because they're sitting there drinking fucking tap water that's, by the way, is also contaminated with lead most of the times. Also fluoride, for that matter. It's now been proven to be, you know, dumb you down and stuff like that. And yeah, you're drinking this like chemical cocktail, thinking you're just drinking a glass of tap water. And it's just fucking you up psychologically is what it is, dude. I can tell you right now, I lived in Columbus, Ohio for 2 years of my life. I put all my fucking water into a Brita pitcher is what it was, to try and filter out some of the shit is what it was there. If I had thought about it, I would have got one like the Alexa Pure things back in the day is what it was, but those were way expensive back then. The entire point I'm trying to make, though, is even having a Brita pitcher and filtering out some of like the junk is what it was, dude. That tap water tasted like shit every fucking time. The water I have in this bottle right here that comes from a local spring here in Canton, Ohio, is some of the best, cleanest water I've ever drank in my entire life, dude. And we've had it tested, and it is pure shit, dude. It is pure spring water. No chemical contaminants, nothing like that, dude. And that's the thing. And when you look at what people are drinking in most of these major cities, dude, it's like there's a reason why it has a funky ass taste to it, because it's all full of chemical based crap is what it is, dude. And then you wonder why it seems like people are starting to go so insane again and again and again and again and again. And it's basically one massacre after another. It's basically, you know, one psychotic fucking event after another. It's why you have fucking psychos sitting there being like, oh, this person in Nashville was a martyr. They weren't a piece of shit criminal committed a bunch of fucking atrocities against Christians. It wasn't a hate crime at all. Except it fucking was, by the way. It's like, oh no, they were totally a martyr for the cause, and we're going to keep continuing on this cause is what it is. It's like so fucking stupid, dude. And like I said, and then you got these bitches in the FBI and the ATF and the DEA and everything else like that, dude. All the alphabet agencies is what it is. DOJ, etc. That don't actually stop this shit, dude. Like, that's the thing. They could preemptively stop this violence right now, dude. They could stop it right now here on Thursday, March 30th, and stop it from ever happening, dude. Stopping anything from ever happening this coming Saturday, April 1st. But they're not going to do that because they want it to happen, dude. Because they are the driving force, along with the mainstream media, that want something to kick off, dude. They want something to kick off so they can justify their tyrannical dictatorship right now. And if you think we aren't living under a tyrannical dictatorship under the Democrat government right now, dude, you're fucking kidding yourself. When there has been a January 6th prisoner in prison right now for over 800 fucking days who has never gotten a trial. That is political persecution, dude. That man maybe would have got 6 months, dude. He has been sitting in there for over 2.5 years of his life right now. It is absolute bullshit, dude. It is absolutely disgusting. And yet we continue to allow it happen, man. I fear for this country. I really do. I fear for what's to come right now. I have no idea what's going to be, honestly. I have no idea exactly what we're going to see right now. I don't know if we're going to continue to see what I see here as the sparks of civil war right now, dude. Where what happened there in Nashville might have been like spark one of 100 for that matter, for all the fuck we know, or if it's going to be something else entirely. Because that's the thing, right? Like I've talked about X Factors on the channel before, dude. I never saw the trans X Factor, dude. Like that, to me, that shit came out of left field, honestly, legitimately. Like I always saw the other ones. I saw the various foreign nationals coming over our border and becoming actual standing armies and stuff like that. I saw the X factors of Chinese sleeper cells. I saw the X factors of Islamic sleeper cells that potentially would be various people for the left and stuff like that whenever things kicked off. I never saw the trans stuff potentially being the spark that kicked it all off. And maybe it's because I was just not paying attention. Maybe I should have been paying more attention. Maybe America should have been paying more attention for that matter besides me, dude. I think we were all kind of caught off guard is what it is, dude. And that's the scary part right now. Because if we don't see that coming, what else are we not seeing coming? What else is coming down the pipe right now? And that's what I'm saying. Like, this is why I seriously think I have stomach ulcers right now, dude. Because it's like just the worry. It's like, what is next? Like, what is going to happen tomorrow? What's going to happen the next day? What's going to happen 10 days from now, or 20 days from now, a month from now, 3 months from now? I just fear. I just fear it, man. I fear the end is what it is. And I believe truthfully what we're seeing right now is 100% the death throes of a country. The death throes of an empire is what it really is, dude. The death rattles and stuff like that. What did people say before? They didn't realize they weren't living in the Roman Empire like 20 years until after it. I feel like that's what is with America right now, dude. Maybe not. Maybe we're not actually, because I've heard. I think it's Vivek Ramaswamy said it the other day, and he said we're probably not really actually like Rome or whatever, more Carthage. I could see that being a thing too as well, where we're like a smaller, like city state essentially in the mix is what it is then, and it's something that lasted for like slightly less time, and that's my biggest problem right now. And honestly, I'll tell you what, dude. Like, what's funny is there's been memes people have been putting out like the last week or so now, where it's a bunch of aliens like basically abducting some guy, and it's like at this point the aliens aren't abducting us; it's just a rescue mission. It's like alien overlords, where are you at already, dude? Come on, like I'm ready, kind of thing. I mean, not really, but like you guys know what I'm saying though. Legitimately, dude, it's like. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, dude. If there was like some hot aliens that came down, like some hot looking alien chicks that came down and stuff like that, and we're like, we're here to help, I'd be like, sign me the fuck up. Seriously. I'd be like, where's the line to get fucked? Like seriously, bro. But nah, for real though. Honestly though, like it depends, honestly, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's something I actually asked in Honda's chat on Rumble the other day. I was like, or no, maybe was it during the chat? I can't remember. I don't think it was during the chat. It was after the chat. We were all bullshitting in the back or whatever the case be. And I was like, like humanoid aliens versus like other ones and stuff like that. Because that's the thing. There's been like some decent looking humanoid aliens that have been portrayed by Hollywood over the decades and stuff. Like that showed Defiance and shit. Where it's just like some chick that has basically like maybe like a little bit toner forehead and stuff like that, but it's like a red face. It's like basically like almost like a pure like blood red skin or something like that. Or it's like some chick that's like this crazy like almost like porcelain white skin or something. And it's like, yeah, would you fuck those chicks? And it's like, hell yeah, I would. Legitimately. And versus like some like crazy alien from like Aliens or something like that. Like, hell nah, bro. Like fuck that shit. Anyway. But nah, for real though. But this is the whole point entirely. I think truthfully, like if we want to get into that talk sometime or whatever, I think there are aliens already on this Earth, dude. Like extraterrestrials and stuff like that are just posing as humans right now. And it would make a lot of sense when you look into it like that, if that's actually happening. So, especially if a bunch of our, like, world leaders and stuff like that were replaced by these people, like, who the hell knows? Only time would tell, honestly. I could definitely see something like Men in Black happening, though, where you got, like, it's basically like, the MIB agents walking around with the little neuralizers and shit like that. It's like, oh, yeah, there's, like, all these alien encounters going on, or whatever the case being. These guys just show up and they're just like, click. And then it's like, oh, you saw a weather balloon or whatever the case be. And it's like, sure I did, buddy. But, yeah, I could easily see something like that being a reality and stuff, dude. Because I've seen some crazy shit, honestly, in my own time, legitimately outside here. Looking up at the sky and stuff like that. Some various saucers and stuff like that is what I'd call them. And I believe I do have missing time in my history, dude. So maybe I was neuralized by some fucking Men in Black agents or something like that for all the fuck I know. Because I saw too much. But, or I was alien abducted. Who the hell knows, man? Maybe they took me up on the ship and were like, hey, how's it going, buddy? And I'm like, cool. And we just hung out for a little while and did some stuff. Had our little, alien human conversation is what it was then. So, who knows? I don't know. I think it'd be interesting, though. Like, there's a big difference, obviously. Like, it's like, the good looking aliens, obviously, versus, like, the crazy fucking let's destroy the Earth aliens from, like, Independence Day or something like that. It's like, oh, nah, bro. So, like, those are the ones we got to fight against, man, for real. Or like the ones from what's that show, Falling Skies, the first ones that came down. I forget what they're called, like Ishveni or something like that. And that's another thing too, by the way. Like, you look into the Falling Skies show and stuff like that, dude. They had, like, I think it was like 3 or 4 alien races by the time that show was finished, and it was like the Ishveni, and then I'm trying to think what that Cochise guy was called, like what his alien race was. The Valm, I think that's what it was, maybe, or Valm, something like that. And it's like, okay, so is people just writing like weird names for alien races? Or are these actual alien races that have been communicating with actual governments over the decades? Is what it is, dude. Because I could easily see that being a thing right there. And that's how you got those names and shit for like Hollywood shows and stuff, dude. Because again, you look into Hollywood and stuff like that when they're doing a lot of shit, is what it is. They'll tend to show you, like, especially when they're doing like Satanist rituals and stuff like that, they'll tend to tell you what's happening, is what it is, dude, before they actually do it. And I could easily see that being a thing where they're just like, hey, here's a TV series about aliens and extraterrestrials and stuff like that. Oh, by the way, these are the actual names of alien races that have been encountered over the, decades of centuries by American government or by any other government across the earth, basically is what it is. So, who knows, man? But, yeah, needless to say, pieces of shit like Bowman need to be tossed out of Congress right now, legitimately, dude. And the mainstream media, for their part, in what's happening with these massacres and these school shootings and, just everyday, killings and stuff like that, when it comes to like workplace shootings and shit like that, they need to be held accountable, dude. When they're creating these massacres and they're creating these killers, it's time for them to be held financially responsible. It's time for them to be held criminally accountable, is what it is. And it's really as simple as that. That's about it for today. I'll be back this day. Today is Thursday now. I might do another one today, or I might just wait until Friday and just do a fishing show or something. I'm thinking about just doing a fishing stream or something like that on Friday, and then I won't do a grandstand until. I might not do a grandstand until then, unless something huge kicks off before then, and then probably after the fishing stream, we would be doing another grandstand probably sometime Saturday, either late afternoon or early evening, maybe into Sunday morning or something. Because I think something's definitely going to happen there at SCOTUS and a few other places with this Day of Vengeance thing or whatever. And I kind of want to talk about that as long as we still have the ability to stream on this channel, is what it is, dude. But yeah, if we get a strike or something like that, some bullshit or whatever, dude, like, check out Leftist Insany's channel. We'll be streaming on there. If nothing else, I might just have to go out to Rumble for a while, which it wouldn't be a live stream. It would basically be me doing some backdoor streaming stuff. That would be about a half hour or so. Maybe not quite that long. Maybe like a few 20-minute segments or something like that. I think that's what it is. and then basically just throwing them up there as videos on the Rumble page then. So anyway, that's pretty much where we're at for the day, though. Hope you guys enjoyed this little over an hour episode today. I didn't think it was going to be anywhere near this long, actually. I thought we were going to be way, way faster than this, but, shit happens. You start talking about crazy events and crazy motherfuckers, and eventually it leads into an hour plus, is what it is. So it is what it is. But anyway, that's about it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you all in the next one.